Hello, everybody. How are you? How are you? How are you this Sunday evening? I want to thank you so much for your support. I see that quite a few people download the episodes, which that makes me very happy. I look forward to when you guys will call in with your questions and your thoughts and participate in real talk, with me live. And I hope to have some guests really soon. If you are interested in calling in tonight, the number is 470-745-0557. Again, the number is 470-745-0557. And the PIN number is 633-367-073. Hashtag. Again, 633-367-073 hashtag. And I put that information in the chat. So if you go to Spreaker.com, Spreaker, and you look for real talk, or Read Ready, you will find my podcast. And if you're on iHeartRadio, of course, you can download it. If you're on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and all that good stuff, you can definitely find me on those platforms. I'm very excited to say that. Um, but in order to participate live, you definitely have to go to Spreaker, or you can join me on Google Meetings and call in, click the link in the chat box, and I will be so happy and excited if you join me. So, before I get started, well, first, tonight's episode or tonight's topic is, knowing your niche. And I'm going to talk about what that really means. I'm going to give you just some very informal insight and information on, who's your cream client and identifying what that means and identifying how you're helping them and how you're messaging them and how your brand speaks to them. And some of the mistakes that we as coaches make and a couple of things that you can do to help streamline who your niche is, who you're coaching to, and why. Um, but before I do that, before I get into the topic, I would ask you to please hold space for me for about 10 or 15 minutes. Excuse me. And I really do want to address some of things that are going on in the United States right now. And if you don't necessarily want to hear it because it is not pertaining to coaching, you can definitely skip ahead 10 minutes. That's definitely your prerogative. But I do want to share some thoughts and my feelings. Um, and like I said, if you're not interested in the conversation of the first 10 to 15 minutes, just fast forward. And I will get right into the topic after I share my thoughts. So, as you guys know, earlier this week, Mr. George Floyd was killed by four officers. Um, and there have been protests and riots and looting and additional murder. A couple of people have been shot. Another young man has been shot, I believe in Nebraska. He was a protester, and our towns are being militarized, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, and everybody think that the pandemic is over because we have semi opened up some states, not even all states, and a couple of beaches are open and parks are open, and people are assuming that the pandemic is over, and it is not. In fact, cases are going up in many states, and deaths are beginning to increase. So we have civil unrest and we have a pandemic. And, it is heartbreaking. It is distressing. It is exhausting. I I'm struggling even to find the words to describe some of my own personal feelings, to be honest with you. And there's a lot I want to say, and I'm not even sure how to articulate it. So I do say, please bear with me as I try to articulate some of my words. One of the things I want to say is that the response to what's happening doesn't help. Some of the responses don't help. Some people are making comments such as, leaders like Gandhi and Buddha and Mother Teresa and Martin Luther King didn't loot and kill and destroy and set fires. And what I would like to say to that is, I don't think there are any leaders doing that now. Those are not the people that are setting fires and looting and destroying businesses. Um, those are either paid actors or people who have a whole nother agenda, people who want anarchy, people who want chaos, people who want to destroy the current regime. And they have nothing to do with the Black Lives Matter movement or why black people are frustrated in America over what happened to not just George Floyd, but Mr. Aubrey, who that's about what, 2 or 3 weeks ago? A young black man, 21, shot jogging. He was jogging, and two white men gunned him down and killed him. And then another young lady, Brianna Thomas, I believe she was an EMT worker, black woman, 1 o'clock in the morning, police did a no knock warrant, bust down her door, shot her while she was sleeping, and they arrested her fiance because he shot back. He was in a state that allowed for firearm possession legally. And he felt like he was being invaded. He was scared. They did not warn him, according to the testimony. They did not say who they were. He had no idea they killed his fiance, who was an EMT worker, and now he's in jail. And so, and this is all in the last month, everybody. Like this whole month, this is what we're talking about. And this is not the only incident. And unfortunately, in the black community, we see this a lot. And it's sad because there is this sense that our lives don't matter. And until our lives matter, how can all lives matter? All lives cannot matter because all means all inclusive. All means everyone, everything without exception. And until Black Lives Matter, you can't have all lives matter. It's an oxymoron, it's a contradiction. And so I say all that to say that a lot of people are criticizing the protesting. And I want to make it clear that the protesters and the looters are two different groups. They are not the same people. And if you look at a lot of the videos, it's not the black people predominantly looting or destroying property. If you look at the videos, and I have personally shared at least 6 or 7 videos showing Caucasian individuals, both male and female, dressed in all black, Writing things on buildings or banks like burn the banks, burn the businesses, and putting Black Lives Matter down with white people. And it's like, first of all, the black community really don't use that type of language really, or don't usually communicate their message in that way. I'm not saying all, but I'm saying that's not typical. The second thing I'm going to say is that, people are trying to down the whole protest and the anguish and the grieving and the suffering and the point that Black Lives Matter and African American communities are making about the senseless killing of black men in their communities by law enforcement. And I just want to be clear that a lot of the protesting, a lot of the looting that you're seeing is not coming from the protesters. And there's even videos of white people paying young black men, and when I oh young black boys, not even men, boys, 13, 14, 15, 16, young black boys, giving them money, probably more money than they've ever seen in their life, to be destructive, to do other things, giving young white boys and young white girls under the age 18 money and telling them white people don't like you and we live in a fascist government and we should tear down the structure. There's video evidence of this. I've shared them on Twitter, on Facebook. I haven't gotten to Instagram yet, but I will probably get around to it. The point that I'm trying to make with this particular part of the discussion is that there is a difference. And please don't lose sight of the real message and the real problem because other people are infiltrating the protesting, which have been predominantly peaceful, especially during the day, until these infiltrators and paid actors and instigators come in and ruining the meaning of what's going on. The second thing I want to say is that toward the end of Dr. Martin Luther King's life, he started to realize that the passive method was not going to work on behalf of Black people because the more we turned the other cheek, the more we showed passive behavior, the more we smiled, the more we had a positive behavior. Bricks were thrown, bottles were thrown, we were spit at, we were pushed, we were hurt, we were harmed, we were beaten to the very inch of our lives. And Martin Luther King actually applied and registered to get a licensed gun for the safety of his life, and he was denied the opportunity to get firearms to protect himself first and foremost. As you all know, he definitely had death threats against his life for standing up for civil rights. And he, toward the end of his life, started to question the passive ideology. And I believe he was going to have a change of heart and probably be more on the lines of by any means necessary. And I think that really did scare a lot of people, hence why he's no longer with us today. And so I say that to say, you know, I am not for violence. I believe in peace. I want peace. I admonish peace. But I also understand that peace and passiveness works for aggressors and oppressors. They don't work for the oppressee because the more you show docileness, the more aggressive the oppressor becomes. And it becomes very hard in the face of continually being beaten, slapped, killed, discriminated against. Um, Constantly being lynched in broad daylight and then justice not being served. For you to be told, oh, well, he died or she died because she shouldn't have been there. Or he died or she died because they were too fat or they had other underlying conditions. And I love a post by a doctor who said, yeah, your whole body could be riddled with cancer, but if somebody shoots you in the chest multiple times, the cancer didn't kill you. It was the gunshot wounds to the chest that made you bleed out. And and that's my belief too, is that, if you're constantly being told it's in your mind, if you're constantly being told it's not real, if you're constantly being told to wait, change is going to come, but yet as you're waiting and you're trying to be passive and you're trying to be peaceful and you constantly see your daughters and your sons and your brothers and your mothers and your fathers killed over something frivolous, it takes all the desire to be peaceful out of you. And I don't care how strong your faith is. I don't care what your belief system is. There comes a point where every human being, and I'm saying this from a psychological perspective, it comes a point where every ounce of your being says enough. I don't have any more peace to give you because I've given you all the peace that I know how. So when we see signs that says I can breathe, I obey the law, or we see signs that, you know, looting and causing destruction isn't called for. It should be peaceful and yada yada yada. Or there shouldn't be any protests over this. That is a slap in the face to the pain, the grief, and the hurt that human beings are experiencing right now. It is an affront to humanity. And there is no justice and there is no peace in that. There is none in that. And you are asking for more pain and suffering to take place when you do that. And to the people who are instigating and causing mischief and damage and destruction and problems, you're not helping because you're taking away this very significant and important message that police brutality is unacceptable in this society. And you're taking away the message that Black Lives Matter. You are capitalizing on the pain and suffering yet again of Black people, of Black faces, of Black bodies. And it is going to come a time where you will have to pay for your indiscretions and your infractions and your sins. And I don't use that word lightly, but I use it very strategically. There will be a moment in time where you will eventually have to pay for the harm that you're doing. And I don't know how that's going to come to you, but I am a person who believes in karma. And I do believe that what you reap you sow. What you reap, you will sow. And this is causing more chaos in our nation because now our towns are being militarized and people are being forced to go in their houses and told they can't come out as if we're under martial law. And this is not the way we're supposed to be. And this is destructive. But I'm going to leave this message on this final note, and then I'm going to go into my topic. And that is, out of the ashes rises a phoenix. And through the chaos and destruction, there will be law and order, and there will be peace, and there will be justice, and there will be creation. And there will be the creation of that justice that we all seek. And there will be the creation of humanity at its best when we come out of this. And I believe that. And I believe in a world where we are all one. And I believe in a world where gender and race, which really there's no such thing as ethnicity and race, by the way, where these social identities will be in harmony and coexist. I believe in it. I believe in it with all my being, but we will not get there until we go through this chaos and this destruction. And we will arise as the phoenix and we will be better. And that is a hope that I have. But I do pray for everyone. I pray for everyone's safety. I pray for the protesters, black, white, brown, yellow, purple, green, don't care what your color is. I don't care what your religion is. Whoever is protesting for justice, for black lives mattering so that all lives can matter. For everyone who's on the side of what's right and what's peaceful and what is good and what is kind and what is compassionate. My prayers are with you and my hope is with you. And I pray for all the families who are losing people over this while we're in the midst of a pandemic. I- May the universe be with us and help us and guide us through this unprecedented time. And may we see our ways through this to be better. So thank you guys very much for, well, I did 20 minutes. My apologies. Sorry, not sorry, really. Um, I needed this space to kind of say my piece and just to remind us that we distinguish between the protesters and the looters. And let's stand up for justice. Let's stand up for peace. Let's stand up for each other. And let's be allies and do what's right because this is no way to live and this is not a proper society where we're behaving this way. This is not proper. And so that's what I have to say and share. And my prayers in my heart go out to the Aubrey family, the Floyd family, the Thomas family, all those families who are suffering because of injustice and racial discrimination. And shame on those who want to start a race war. Shame on those who are trying to capitalize on this situation. Karma is a bitch. And that's all I got to say about that. So I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to take a swig of my juice. Actually, I'm drinking some fruit punch. um, all natural fruit punch. So I'm drinking that and take a deep breath, be in the moment and be in the present with you guys to talk about coaching niche, knowing your niche, and what is that really about, and what does that entail. So, all right. So, when I first went through my coach training, and we did have some lecture and some lessons on, and it wasn't a lot. It really wasn't a lot, but we did cover, being very narrow in your niche, knowing exactly who you want to target and making sure you craft your brand around that message. And so when I graduated my coaching program, I really still wasn't clear on who my niche market was. I knew that I wanted to work with women. That was one thing I was very, very sure of. But I didn't know in what capacity, I didn't know how. And so then I started thinking about I wanted to work with women who were wives and moms because that's what I identify with. I am a mom, I am a wife. So with that being said, that's who I felt my niche market was. And then I was trying to understand, well, what is it that I wanted to do for them? And I am a certified mindfulness trainer and mindfulness practitioner. I am a certified teacher, and and I felt like I wanted to help married women and moms create work life harmony. So that was my first brand message. And so, in looking at that, I felt like my niche market were married women who may also have children, who are employed. They could be self employed, they could be high profile careers, they could be celebrities, they could be politicians. They were women working and trying to make work and life and self balance out. Now, well, integrate, harmonize. But as I started branding, the coaching part wasn't hard. I mean, because I still coach around that topic. Um, and that's not really the issue. The issue became branding that message. And where do these women meet? Where are they? How can I tap into them? How can I locate them so that they can hear my message, see my message, receive my message, and experience coaching with me based upon my message? And I struggled because I wasn't really matching that message with my brand. And then I got caught up in, well, am I branding that message under my company, Read Ready Life Coaching, or am I branding that message under Coach Dawn? And so for a good year and a half, almost 2 years, I kept experimenting because I really couldn't identify how I wanted to brand my message. And it made me realize I really didn't know my niche. And so I shared that part of the story to say a lot of coaches really don't know who they're coaching to and how they're going to brand their message, right? I also realize a lot of coaches don't necessarily create a company like Read Ready, separate or apart from, let me backtrack that. They don't necessarily create a company apart from their own name, apart from who they are and them as an individual coach, right? I went a separate route. I actually created a company and I am a coach under the umbrella of my company. And it took me almost 2 years to identify that. And that's why my message wasn't really clear to the women I was trying to target. I also felt like it probably wasn't as narrow as it could have been because even saying women who are married or moms seeking work life integration, well, that's still broad. You know, so I did start thinking because I did want to work with CEOs and I did want to work with high profile types of people. But then I ran into the issue of it's really not my circle. I could still coach them. There's no doubt that I can coach them, but I'm not in their circle. And it makes it very difficult to market to people who you're not going to run into them. And I realized I didn't know how to find them. I didn't know how to be where they were. I mean, I could follow them online, which I did all that. But the key is being at events and showing up face to face where they will be. It was difficult. And so I had to really step back and go, what do I know? Who do I really want to coach? And how do I want to relay that brand message, either under my company or under me? And so I spent about 9 to 12 months rebranding and getting my niche better understood. And it took me looking at What are my skills? What do I believe in? What are my values? And how can I make the best impact? How can I really show up? And where can I find my niche? And after all that was said and done, I realized very clearly that my niche were fellow coaches, in particular women coaches, and more specifically, women of color. Now, that does not mean I do not coach Caucasian or or anybody who would be defined as someone that's not of color or white, you know. Um, of course, I can coach men, I can coach any kind, doesn't matter. But I realized my niche, who I wanted to resonate with, and to narrow down that particular market, women coaches, in particular, women of color who are coaches. And the next part that I really looked at was, while I'm still into the work life harmony, that's a byproduct of coaching with me. You'll get that with coaching with me, right? So then I said, well, what is it that I really, really want to help them do? I really want to help them create profitable businesses or profitable careers as coaches. And what did that entail? And so that directed me to look at branding through my company, because my company as a whole provides coach training and professional development. My company provides mentoring. My company provides coach training, coach mentoring, supports, all that good stuff. A network for coaches, coaching based projects, um, the opportunity for new coaches to kind of develop their credibility, develop their niche, develop who they are, so until they become into their own, right? And so I said, well, okay, Dawn, take what you know, what you love doing, because I love teaching, I love training, I love it, and brand through your business and focus on women coaches, in particular, women coaches of color who are looking to become professional, credentialed coaches. And after I realized that, things changed dramatically. First of all, because I'm a coach, because I'm African American, I already know what the downfalls are, what the pluses are, where the work is, where the pitfalls are, some of the experiences that may be very specific to women coaches of color. And secondly, I am where coaches are. Like, I'm there. I go to different activities. I participate in different events. I belong to organizations. And so I am where coaches are. That made perfect sense. So now I can brand my message because it's clear who my niche market is and how I can help them, how I want to help them, and connect all of that back to my values and back to my why I'm coaching, why I do what I do, why I love what I do. And once I was able to comment, oops, hello, I hope you guys, oops, hello, okay, I stepped on the mute button on my darn phone, god dog it. Sorry about that. Well, not my phone, my headpiece. Anyway, um, I'm just giving you a forewarning that, while I don't necessarily share a lot of political stuff directly or personally, I do make comments on certain posts. So, but that's like maybe 1% of my posts, and that's being honest to goodness. I really don't, I try not to do it, but sometimes I just feel passionate about what I see. But for the most part, my posts are about tips to help coaches, information about the International Coaching Federation, which I am a member. I'm credentialed by the ICF. I'm actually the incoming VP for the Philadelphia chapter of ICF, which I'm very excited about. Um, so I say all that to you to say, so I post information to help coaches. I post tips. I do post mindfulness information because I do have a mindfulness solution focused coaching methodology that I use. So I do talk about that. I talk about coaching models and certifications and kind of a lot of the stuff that I talk about through the podcast, I kind of talk about through social media. So as you follow me and as my branding message is forming and solidifying, you're going to see that message a lot clearer because now I understand who my target market is and what my message should be. And so that's what I'm trying to bring to you as listening to this. I'm hoping that it's triggering some thoughts and some ideas about your brand. And so the first thing I'm going to say is that the biggest mistake that we as coaches make is one, we try to coach everybody. We try to, no, let me rephrase that. We try to send the message that we coach everybody. We try to swim in this huge pond. But what I learned through trial and very costly errors is that it is much more important to be very, very narrow and meet or fill a gap that other coaches are not doing. Therein lies your sweet spot. You must know who your niche is, who your target market is, who your audience is, who are you talking to? Because if you're talking to everyone, you might as well be talking to no one because no one is going to hear you. People respond to a message that they resonate with because it's personal, because they see themselves in the message. If people don't see themselves in your message, they're not going to come to you. This does not mean that you cannot coach more than your target market. This just means when you have a message, the message must be clear who you're talking to. I love in my training course, I love giving analogies about Starbucks and like McDonald's. And I know I shouldn't be mentioning them because it's not like they're paying me to mention them, so they're getting free publicity from Coach Dawn. I know. Uh, you're welcome. So let's use Starbucks for instance. What is their message? Their coffee. Coffee. You really don't see or hear any other message, but if you go into Starbucks, they got CDs that you can buy because they got a great sound system and playlist, right? You can buy CDs, you can buy mugs, you can buy coffee, coffee traveling cups and all that kind of stuff. You could buy food, they got sandwiches, they got pastries. So the point that I'm trying to make is that their message is high quality, high end coffee, right? Expensive high end coffee. The same thing with McDonald's. Their key message is burgers, and they are appealing to working families who don't have time to cook a home meal. So, guess what? Stop at McDonald's and get your burger and your fries and get a happy meal for your kids and take that stress off of you. That's their message. That's their brand. It's predominantly burgers and fries. But when you go to McDonald's, they got salads, they got pancakes, they got coffee, they got cookies, they got McRibs. They got tons of stuff that they don't necessarily create a message around. Or if they do a commercial, the commercial is tailored to a particular audience and a particular product. Think about it. That is the mindset that you have to have. It's the same thing with any company. Go to any company. Go to, no, no. Go to any supermarket. Go to any aisle, whether it's the soda aisle, the bread aisle, the cereal aisle. You'll see tons of product, tons of cereals in the aisle, right? But each one of them have a unique message and they tell their audience why you should eat them, why you should pick them, why you should buy them. Whether it's economics, whether it's easy, whether it's health, whether it's tasty, there's something there that they provide you that's unique from other brands that are on the shelves. And that's what we as coaches must do. We have to develop our message and our brand and target who we really want to target. And as you're talking to people, as you're marketing, when you have a particular product or service that you want to promote, all of your brand and all of your message is going to be around that. Not everything you do, not everybody that you want to coach, but a particular style, a particular model, a particular problem that you want to solve. That's your message. And we as coaches don't do that. We don't. We want to do everything and we want to do everybody. No pun intended, but hey, it's funny. You guys know what I mean. Um, and so that's the part that I really want us to understand is that you cannot create a solid brand message until you know who your niche market is. And so that leads me into, well, who is your niche market? You have to understand their pain points. You have to understand the problems they have. You have to understand who they are and where they are. You have to understand how much money they're willing to invest. You have to understand what do they know about coaching and about you. And you have to tailor your message around that. And I just gave you guys partial to my lesson that I teach. So I'm going to stop there because I'm about to get into my my class. Yes, and that's a paid for service. So I'm going to kind of stop there. But you guys get the gist of what I'm saying, right? Um, and so with that being said, you know, the more you know about your audience, the better you can fine tune your message and brand it for them so that they know that you are speaking to them and that they know that you are focused on their problem and their needs and what they want. And when you create that type of message, you will see that you'll have a lot of clients. And once you get the clients, I'm telling you, you can have conversations. So, like for instance, I'll give you an example. One coach I was working with, and we was talking about her branding and her business. We then, in one of her coaching sessions, it came out that she really was struggling with her mental monsters. She was struggling with time management. She was struggling with setting boundaries. And we initially was talking about and coaching around her brand and her business. And it's like, okay. So I gave her a choice. I'm like, I believe in coaching in the moment. I believe that just because you hired me to coach around A, don't mean we can't talk about C, B, D, E, and F. The whole idea is that, whatever you want to coach around, we're going to tackle. So with that being said, she asked me, well, you know, do you coach around setting boundaries? Do you coach around, you know, the mental monsters that we have? And I'm like, hell yeah, of course I do. That's actually my specialty if you want the truth. I said, so, what would you like your agenda to be? What is your objective? And so as we started to talk about it, and again, it did come out of talking about her business and finding time and doing certain things to for her brand and creating this, that, and the other. And like I said, it led organically into how do you create work life integration? How do you set boundaries? How do you deal with imposter syndrome? How do you deal with the mental monsters and self sabotaging and all that good stuff? All of that came organically out of the coaching sessions around her brand and building her coaching business. And so I say all that to say, of course, you can coach around anything and everything that you're comfortable coaching around. And it's going to come up when you're coaching. And it's not the only instance that I can even share with you. Like, I've had several coaching clients where we started out coaching around one particular topic because that's what they came to me for. But then as we were coaching and other things started to surface, they wanted to use their time and the sessions to deal with those items and to do deep dive coaching and to really look at their personal life, not just their coaching career or their coaching practice. And so, with that being said, you know, don't feel like you're leaving money on the table because you're not trying to encompass everybody. I'm telling you right now, when you throw too wide of a net, you're going to fishes are going to be let go. Fishes are going to not be captured because the net is too wide. Sometimes you have to make sure you stay focused and narrow in order to get the right clients for you. As my students, Ready coaches know, that's how you get your cream clients. And we talk about what the cream client is in our coach training class. So I hope that this information is helpful. I hope that it gave you something to think about when you are talking about your niche, you're developing your brand message, you know, be narrow, be as narrow and specific as you can, because that's how you tap into the message. And that's how people go, oh, she's talking to me. Oh, I got that problem. I'm going to call her and see if she can help me. You see what I'm saying? That's what you want your message to do. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Again, thank you for giving me space to share my thoughts earlier. I really do hope that all the information that I've provided is very helpful to you. I do want to say that, if you are interested in Read Ready Coach training, I am currently uh, submitting my application for my credentialing process. I'm very excited about that. And so during the credentialing process time, I am offering, I'm sorry, Read Ready Life Coaching is offering coach training at a substantially huge discount while we're going through the credentialing process. And so that new price for our 16-week course, and it's only the 16-week course only, because that's the course that we're credentialing for ICF. And we are going to have CEU or one off courses that we're going to try to get continued education for, or yeah, CEUs for. So while we're going through that, this 16-week course is the foundation for it. We're only charging $699 for the 16-week coach training. You get all of the excellent benefits, all of the excellent experience, all of the lessons, the lectures, the mentor. You get everything at the full regular price. So nothing changes as far as the services and quality that you receive. And we are asking, for all of your support and help. If you become a coach, a Read Ready coach, and you decide to take the program, uh, you're going to help us in a very instrumental ways in making sure we get this credential. And the idea is that because you'll be part of the training, you'll be grandfathered in to the process, meaning when you graduate, you'll be able to use the hours toward your International Coaching Federation credentials. That is the whole goal. So you'll be able to use the training. Trust me. And this is another reason why we're going. This is another reason why I'm doing such a low rate because I can't predict how things are gonna go. I have all the good intentions. I've got everything lined up. My I's are dotted. My T's are crossed. I'm really excited. I believe everything is gonna be positive, but you always have to plan and mitigate risk. And so, just in case, I still want to make sure that you get the best bang for your buck because no matter what, you will still be a professionally certified coach through Read Ready Life Coaching. Um, Regardless. So this is a great opportunity to get on board because after we get approved, and we will get approved, I'm just confident, y'all. I'm just confident. After we get approved, the pricing is going to go back up to the original price. Matter of fact, it may even be a little higher because there are some additional courses that I will be adding on as we go through. So I say all that to say this is the time to become a Read Ready Life coach because you are not going to see this phenomenal discounted price again. And it's only during our credentialing price process that we're providing this discounted rate. And it's only for our 16-week course. With that being said, no other discount applies. So it's not eligible for any other discounts. It's not eligible for any other savings. This is a huge savings in and of itself. We are not necessarily making a profit off of it at any way. This is really to go through our process. So this is the time. Our next course actually starts tomorrow, and the next course after that starts in October. We may try to fit in a course in the middle of this month. So please visit the website to see the dates. I am thinking about adding another course between now and July. Um, so with that being said, any courses that we create right now for the 16-week course will definitely be eligible for the 699 price. And so you will be very, very fortunate to sign up now for the training. So please visit our website, readready.com or readreadycoaching.com, and click on the menu for upcoming training or services and click on coach training and certification. And you can read all about our training and what comes with the training and what you learn and what the syllabus is like. Um, and like I said, the current price is $699 and it will be that price until we're done with our credentialing process. Is there anything else I can share with you? And like I said, there are no discounts while we're going through this because we are definitely giving it to you at a very significantly low rate. So I think that's really it. I want to thank you guys so much for your time, for your patience. Please go out there and create awesome sauce for yourself and for others. And take care of each other. Thank you.